Welcome everybody to the Pantheon. I am Ray.
I'm heavy.
And Evie, what are we looking at today?
The Civil War.
Right. It is the second, installment from the Russo brothers. They're after directing Winter Soldier. Civil War was your next endeavor. The stunt coordinators were David Leitch and Chad Stahelski, the guys who brought you John Wick and Deadpool. So they were doing these were the stunt guys who were just about to form their own business and become their own directors. So Civil War was a collaboration of these guys plus the original writers for Endgame, Infinity War. So it was. This is like the springboard for a lot of big things to come in terms of the creative side of it. But this is also like one of the big MCU like groundbreaking movements in terms of like where stories start to split off, from here. So Evie, give us your thoughts of the overview of this film.
I want your views on it. It's complicated, bro.
Okay, so you actually know what, you're absolutely right. So rather than going to an overview of it, let's just break down, because it really is Captain America versus Iron Man, right? That's what it comes.
Right.
That's where it ends up becoming. And but we'll get into like why that is. But like, I should talk about the journey of each character, because the characters, both Captain America and Tony Stark, they flip here. In the beginning, Iron Man was anti-establishment, and Captain America was very much by the book, following orders, a soldier, And so by the end of this movie, they trade places, Captain America doesn't trust the government, and that's for a reason, because from the time he comes back from being frozen, everything he's come across is like he finds the government lying to him. It's untrustworthy. Like, for instance, like the shadowy network that Nick Fury answers to, they wanted to put a nuke in New York City. They were harboring weapons that Hydra was making, and they didn't tell him that they had these alien tech invasion from this Tesseract invasions. His own people wanted to kill him because the government shield was invaded by Hydra. So all the levels of government was invaded by the enemies he tried to stop in the World War. So he had no one to trust. It ended up almost killing Nick Fury, where he had to go into hiding. So his trust toward the government was lost. His faith in the people who used to stand up with and fight and risk his life for him, he questions. So it reversed. Whereas with Tony Stark, he, after being kidnapped in the cave and realizing that his weapons were killing people, he went on a mission to try and like take back the weapons that was killing people. When Ultron, his own creation, caused the Earth to come off the ground and land back on Earth, it killed thousands of people. And one of the villains that we deal with in Civil War is birthed from the casualties of Sokovia, Baron Zemo, because his family was killed in a building that fell on top of his family, killing his wife and child and his father. And the last thing he saw when he was able to find the bodies was that his father was holding his wife and child in his arms. And then so that was, and knowing that you can't kill the Avengers because they're the almighty team, he figured out a way to kill them from the inside out, have them kill them, go after themselves. So this was a very dark and twisted and cerebral film.
Interesting.
Right, and he's using the events of Winter Soldier to do it. So, so when I saw this movie in theaters, I always blamed Black Widow, and the reason why I blame Black Widow is because when she, at the end of Winter Soldier, she revealed all these documents and secrets that Hydra had, and in one of those secrets was Winter Soldier's exploits, and so one of the exploits was on December 16th, 1991, Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. Right.
Okay.
And that was a catalyst, because Tony Stark did not know this. So he wanted to use this information because he knew, or had suggested, or possibly suggested that Captain America might know the secret, because he fought tooth and nail to keep Bucky alive against the government. So he knew that would be his ace in the hole, to turn one hero against the other should Captain America know that Bucky killed his parents. And it worked. Everything's based on a gamble, because he didn't know where Bucky was. Bucky's in hiding. So he had to fake an incident to cause everyone to look for Bucky, and he caused the UN explosion, which caused by default it kills T'Challa's father, T'Chaka,
Right.
in an
Yeah.
assembly, which makes Black Panther show up on the scene, wanting to go after Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, and with him, with Winter Soldier being Captain America's best friend, he has to try and save Bucky or bring Bucky in before it gets worse, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that kind of creates the divide, you know.
Hmm.
And with the Sokovia Accords, because they were responsible for various events,
Right.
this caused a great deal of tension amongst them. Because this point now, Stark is feeling the political pressure of what happened in Largos, because a team went out to, I think, a place in Africa where Scarlet Witch was stopped Crossbones, who was one of the villains in Winter Soldier. But the explosion killed a lot of civilians. There was civilian casualties. And that sparked additional push on Sokovia Accords towards the heroes. Because wherever they went, it has caused death. So, but I mean, in terms of like, even if they weren't there, the death toll would have been higher, but they want someone to blame. So the UN, because of they're globetrotters, drafted the Sokovia Accords to keep them in check. That's the basis of this.
Yeah, that's a good summary of it, right? That's good. Half of that I didn't even know, so I'm glad.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So, and then there's a lot of Easter eggs. Just to quickly go into this, they leads into Spider-Man. When in Largos, when Crossbones had these these enhanced punching machines on his hands to fight Captain America. Well, in the fight with Captain America, he lost one, and the other one got blown up with him. So where I'm going with this is that device he has was used in Homecoming with Spider-Man, is because that was Shockwave's weapon, that glove. So, so when you and I get into Homecoming, which will be very shortly, because the salvage team that picks up debris and everything, the Shockwave's weapon is the glove that Crossbone has, which I'll go into more detail when we do Homecoming. But like some things overlap quite a bit. Also, with Far From Home, there's a scene where Captain Tony Stark has his virtual reality device where we see his parents and see how his parents were on his last days. So we see like he's at a stage at MIT. He donates money to the MIT students, and you see a young Tony Stark with his parents on this virtual stage, right?
Oh wow, cool.
And his virtual equipment, he calls it Barf. Right. We find out in Far From Home that that technology of illusion was the team that creates Mysterio. So everything's connected with the MCU. Everything goes back to something. And so a lot of Spider-Man hints come from this, and this is where we also get the introduction of Spider-Man too.
Cool.
We meet the character where he goes to Queens, and we meet a very young and very attractive Aunt May meeting Tony Stark, and that's how Tony Stark hires Peter Parker to be part of his team.
Okay, cool.
So that is the crux of it. Also, I would say too, because for those who've watched Falcon and Winter Soldier, the first couple episodes, we find out there's a super soldier serum being that was made. And then one of the things that Baron Zemo has as an ace up his sleeve was having a book that dealt with Hydra's experiments post Steve Rogers. They were trying to reproduce the experiments, and then so try to stop him. They went to this place. I guess it was Alaska or North Pole. I don't know where it is. It's or Siberia, I think it was. And it led to both Steve and Tony to go to the Siberia to stop Zemo from unleashing these, like I think 5 super soldiers.
Okay, cool.
Right. So when you watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, there is a story of super soldiers being augmented from Hydra. And so Zemo would be your connection towards that. And that's where Baron Zemo's character is introduced into the Falcon and Winter Soldier, because he knew of the history that Hydra was working on back in the days. And he has all the ledgers and documents.
Awesome.
So,
okay.
So I'm going really, really heavy on this, but just wanted to give everybody the uptick on where all this leads into. So, what are your
Thanks.
thoughts in general with with Civil War?
Well, now that I know the background of everything, I
Mhm.
want to see more.
When was the last time you saw the movie?
Maybe 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had to rewatch this recently because I
Mm.
knew most of it, but like it's because of all the little intricacies. Because this is where Peggy Carter dies. You know,
Mm.
this is where we meet Agent 13. Well, we meet
Yeah.
Agent 13 again, and you know, it kind of creates a love interest. And also, this is where we get Bucky and Falcon. You know, having the
Right.
first interactions together, which kind of leads into
Cool.
you know, because like the scene where we're in the car and they kind of give
Mhm.
Steve the kind of the eye because he's like
Mhm.
trying to date Agent 13. They're his friends, you
Right.
know.
Cool.
So that's really cool.
Awesome.
Overall, I really enjoyed it. Where can they reach us, Evie?
At Twitter
Mhm.
and our Gmail,
Right?
and even online, we could go and get information about whatever we want
That's right. I'm putting
Yeah.
it on the bottom of the screen right now, so you can
on the
see us
screen.
where they can find us and
Yeah.
get more information. Not only on
Exactly.
YouTube, of course, but on audio as well as a blog, weekly blogs,
Mhm.
and social media. So
Yeah.
with that, I am Ray.
And I'm Evie.
We'll talk to you later.